Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Wednesday. It is May 26th, and we are hanging out with the Meteorite, the Knowledge Bolide crew here on Topper Spin Meteorites weekly hangout. Got a cool little show planned today, including some very scientific, good information from our partner Daniel Sheikh. And he submitted a video for the From the Lab series. So this is episode number 2, and he's classifying a chondrite from our very own Raymond Borges. So I think Raymond is on with us today, and I think Daniel will be joining us a little bit later to answer questions. So let me do something real quick. All right. All right.
Happened again.
We are being recorded, folks. The good thing about today is our 1-year anniversary. So congratulations, everyone. 52 in a row. We haven't missed a single one. That's amazing. I'm taken back by that. So let me get my tool up. All right. So I wanted to show you something that I was shown today. I get shown a lot of expensive things that I can't afford, and I'm asked to make my best offer on stuff. Well, I looked at this when I first saw this, and I'm thinking that's just a huge chondrite. It is an iron.
Yeah, that's an iron.
Look at this thing.
It's a big one.
Wow.
Wow, look at all the regmaglyphs on that side.
The shipping cost on that gonna be a pretty penny.
And my initial impression is, please stop dragging across that pavement. Put it on a blanket and scoot it around.
It's
a lot easier to move on a blanket.
That's why all the high spots are shiny.
Yeah. But I just thought this was an absolute gorgeous piece. So if there's any people out there who are looking for a 40 kilo.
Yeah, I was going to guess 45. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
100 pounds.
I was going to have you guys guess, but I forgot I put that in there. I was wondering why it was empty there. Yeah, so that's just a beautiful iron. I'm not exactly sure where it's out of, but if you have an extra, $80,000, $100,000 laying around and want to pick it up, by all means.
If you got an extra $100,000 or $110,000 around, I'll sell you my big Gibeon. And it's 67 kilos.
57 kilos?
6'7".
Oh, wow.
151.0. One of these days I'll be live from downstairs and I can show it off.
That's awesome. Well, does anyone have a guess of whose setup this is?
Ron's.
I would guess that. That is Ron's. All right.
Yes.
The mad scientist.
Yes, he's not with us right now because his grandkid is, I think, a grandson is actually at a baseball game. So hope you win, buddy. We're rooting for you. That's the only reason Ron's excused today. But what we have here, obviously, most of us know this is a reverse osmosis setup, and we can go into that in detail at a different time. But the process is saving these irons. This is a brand new classification, NWA 13855. I'm a main mass holder of 100 grams, and I have another 300 grams at my house. But in the net bowl, I have 100 grams. And it consisted of 5 slices, and some of them were in bad shape. But I'm happy to say that they were bubbling away, and now 3 of them are to this state.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Nice.
So this is a little plug for Ron Metchis, doing a fantastic job on these irons. He's going to be etching them, and then I don't know if he coats them or not, but I'll have to ask him about that. But I think he's doing a fantastic job on them. There's the reverse side of them. And if you stick around, and if you are generous, and if you are charitable, one of these is, I'm putting a value because I'm the main mass, one of the main mass holders. I'm putting a value of $10 a gram on them. They're about $20 or 20 gram slices, so they're about $200. I'm giving one away to the most generous person who donates later on, and the donation does not go to me. So stay tuned for that.
These are the first 3 pieces that I finished doing the electrolysis on. I have 2 more to go. They're going to take about a week. So in order to keep them from re-rusting, I have them in a 99.9% isopropyl alcohol bath. They can sit there, and any moisture that was infused into the pieces from the electrolysis bath will get drawn out at the same time. So these will just have to wait a week or so.
So the first 3 pieces are done, at least done getting saved. So thank you very much, Ron. I know you can't join us today, but you're with us in spirit right now. So I thought that was pretty nice. Yeah, so I can't wait to get those back. I have a few slices of it here that are already done, but I'm holding off for the final reveal. I received something today that I am super, super excited about. So I'm going to go first for show and tell, but please do raise your hand if you have something. I'm going to be putting a video up that describes this a little bit more, but let me show you what we're talking about. It's a brand new Diogenite, and it is so beautiful, so beautiful. It is the most reminiscent thing to Tatahouine, believe it or not. So this comes directly from the main mass holder, Larbi, a good friend. Well, not really a good friend, but a great guy and a friend. So a good friend. So this is his main mass, and I have this 25 gram piece. So the video I'm going to put online is going to show you the process of what it looked like when I received it 2.5 hours ago, why this has been removed, and what the dirty water looked like. Anyone know what I did?
Did you ultrasound it?
Exactly. Yeah, I threw in the ultrasonic cleaner, and look at this.
Wow.
Oh,
I love
the
that.
crystal faces.
Yeah, look at these crystals right here. Just.
That's pretty huge. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a beauty.
And before I put it in the ultrasonic, this entire ledge right here was just coated with caliche. It was impacted with caliche. And if I had dug at it with a tool aggressively, I no doubt would have broken that off. No doubt would have broken this off if I had aggressively done at it. So ultrasonic, hot water, and I didn't even have to do any cleaning on it, but as you can see, it comes absolutely beautiful. And the only thing that I have in my collection that's similar to this is Tatahouine, but it's not even, Tatooine's its own.
You've got a nice piece of Tatooine in your collection, Topper.
Yeah, thank you.
Much bigger than average.
25 gram piece, I think, as well.
Yeah.
In fact, while we're talking about that, I'll just grab it real quick. But yeah, this one I'm super excited to have in my collection. Just the massive crystals in it.
Now, you said this new one is under classification now?
Already been classified.
Oh, been classified. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll try to pronounce it with you guys, okay? Everyone try together. Dekkaliat.
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 I don't know the exact total known weight, but it's not very much, which makes it really cool to me. And then, of course, I saved the shipping documents coming directly from Italy to me. Well, actually, they weren't sent to me. They were sent to Thopper. So, so Thopper Spina Meteorite. Yeah.
Yeah. Fortunately, there are not too many spinatos in the neighborhood.
Yeah. So this was my Christmas present from my wife.
Oh, man, that is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's
27.5 grams.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's one of my favorite meteorites.
It is. That one gives us fits on is it a meteorite and meteorite or meteoron.
Yeah.
I only have a 5-gram fragment of that.
Yeah, I've got 2 or 3 1-gram pieces.
It looks like a
Yeah, I
giant
think I got a
crystal,
sub-gram.
you know?
And you can actually see the crystal, the edge of the crystal here, where it's
Yeah.
cut, where it broke or whatever.
Yep.
Just a super, super piece. So thank you very much, Baby Doll. I appreciate this.
Yeah, that is gorgeous.
Absolutely.
And by the way, everyone, just so you know, Baby Doll was not Pat. It was my wife. Yeah. So that is my beautiful Diagonites. Well, at least 2 of them. And it's not closing for me, so I'm not going to force it. All right. Does anyone have something they'd like to show off?
I have a refugee from the mail system.
Huh.
Want me to highlight you?
Sure. So, the U.S. Mail Service, I think, needs to leave service out of their name. This package was lost for 3 weeks, and it finally surfaced in Washington, D.C. And Washington, D.C. is not between Minnesota and my house in California. But thank goodness it showed, because
Oh, that's
Ooh.
Wow, sirs.
nodules everywhere.
yeah, and some
CAI.
really wicked CAIs in there too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Are you thinking CV3 on that?
But yeah, this one, it's unclassified, so
Wow.
it has to be a probably CV3. But I think when you look up in the dictionary for CV3, this is the picture you should see. But that's not even the best bit. So this piece, this one was pre-sliced, and this piece is the main mast.
Wow.
Oh,
Huh.
my.
And Chris is working on classifying it.
That's
So that's-
Chris Hurd in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's in progress. And the most wicked awesome part of it is this.
Whoa.
Yes.
What is that?
It is a black inclusion of some sort, probably a very fine grained other variety of carbonaceous. There was some of this material. It shows in the corner of this piece as well. There was some material, not of this one, but of a similar one that I think it was Mirko Grals was selling for quite a bit of money per gram. That was CV3 and CM2.
Wow.
And this one, I suspect, I don't think it's CM2 because I don't see any white flecks in there, and I haven't lapped this to clean it up anymore. This is pretty much right off the saw. Well, there's a little bit of sanding or lapping there, but that dark stripe, I don't know if that's real yet or if that is saw burn, but the CAIs in this one are just really beautiful. And this is the largest surface area slice.
Man, that is crazy beautiful.
And this one down, this white inclusion down here, let me mess with the lighting just a bit more. There. That I think is a CAI, that's not a fluffy type A. It's some other sort of CAI.
I was going to ask you, on one of the slices, it had a really super round white chondrule. I was going to ask you if that was a CAI.
Yeah. Was it this one down the corner? I think that actually is a chondrule.
Okay.
And I think, given its size, it probably classifies as or qualifies as a megachondrule.
Man.
The CAIs are very rarely completely round with a really distinctive border like that one.
That's why it stood out to me, but it was so big and so white. I was like me on a beach.
Yeah.
It's just like some of the chondrules have a halo or a ring around them.
Yeah, they do. This one right here has a dark halo around it.
It's hard to tell from the pictures, but are some of those chondrules blue?
Some of them do have a bluish cast, yes. The color reproduction here is not super good as the well, actually the color reproduction should be okay. It's altered a little bit by the polarizers, but not a huge amount. But I think the really interesting thing to see how it pans out is this this big black inclusion in the corner of this piece. Yeah, so this package was in the mail for quite some time. Here's another smaller slice, but it has a really interesting
that's
eye
pretty.
in it.
Jeez. Are you thinking thin section on that one or what?
Yeah. There's going to be some thin sections made out of one of these pieces. I haven't studied them enough to figure out exactly which yet, but the one, and I need to clean them up a little better, but this one that shows the large dark inclusion there, it's very interesting on the edge. The right here is the fusion crust of that dark inclusion, and it is considerably different looking than the fusion crust of the rest of the stone.
Does that line up with the black line?
No, it doesn't actually. So that stripe of fusion crust there, spots with kind of the middle of that inclusion, the big crack through it there.
That's a really interesting piece, man.
Absolutely.
I was not a happy camper that it disappeared, but patience won out.
How many total grams of it do you have?
Let's see. It is about 110, 135, 140, 150 grams total.
Nice. Wow. That's
how many total grams are you willing to sell me?
None at this point. Chris does have some more slices. I think he said he had 5 more slices or thereabouts. But as it's in the process of classification right now, he is going to hold off on selling them until they get classified. And I've still only ever sold one meteorite in my life. I was trying to decide if I want to be a meteorite dealer or just a collector. So that's what I had. Back to you, Topher. Thank you.
You know, my mantra is I'm a dealer, not a hoarder, because if it was up to me, I'd be great. That's how my business started. I was a ambitious collector that turned hoarder, and so.
Hey, it's not hoarding if your stuff's cool, man.
I'm definitely a hoarder, and one of the symptoms of that is that interesting meteorites show up in boxes in various rooms of my house.
I'm scolded by my wife to try to manage it into my office. So let's do some show and tell. We got 2 hands up. We had Mike Kelly first, but I'm going to Marissa anyway. Hey, Marissa, how are you?
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey, Marissa.
Hello, Marissa.
So I was just going to show three different meteorites. I'm a little weak today. I had to go out and, it was nice to get out of the house, but, I'm a little tired from that, but I still wanted to show some off. So this is my Gold Basin slice.
Oh.
The elusive Gold Basin, hunted for but not collected.
Yet.
Yet.
Yeah, and I think this is my only example of this. It's 29 grams, and it's particularly special because Twink, one of the original hunters, found me in Tucson and gave it to me personally.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Nice.
Twink Monahan is a legend.
That is amazing. I was going to say that's a fairly good size Gold Basin. I know there's bigger ones out there, but there's a ton of 5 gram and unders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm very happy with this. And I honestly don't know how she found me. I was just going back to my hotel room for a quick break, and she just walks up and says, "Hey, Marissa," and because the wheelchair is easy to spot, everybody knew me. So I'm like, "Oh shoot, I don't know who this is," and then she never contacted me to meet me, so I'm like, "Okay, guys, who's feeding information of where I am?"
When you come down to Tucson in 2022, we're going to put a homing beacon on you so everyone knows where you are.
Then you hear my name everywhere and be like, "Oh God, now what?" So moving down the line, I've got this one. It's just a tiny little sample, but flip it around, turn it around, and like this.
Whoa!
Oh, wow.
I know you got Cameron's attention.
1803.
Of course. Nice.
Oh, and that's directly from Mike Mandalay too. He's got amazing historical meteorites.
Yeah, I was pretty excited when I got this. I mean, you got to have one, at least a crumb.
Yeah.
That is a pretty hard one to find, because I was with Cameron in Tucson, and he was looking, and every place he went into, he was asking for it, and every different shop pronounced it a different way.
Yes, but it was only correctly pronounced in Anne's room.
Yeah.
And I think she did have a piece, but I think it was selling for the price of a decent used car.
Wow.
And then the last one, I have it set up. I just have to move down a little bit. So I apologize. Bear with me.
No worries.
Okay.
No worries.
If there's anyone that would be able to pronounce that French meteorite, it would be the meteorite queen herself that actually translated Elaine Carillon's, I think is his name, his book.
Yep.
So she actually translated from French to English, and has been, she was a founding member of the IMC. She's been around for decades. So yeah, not bad. Ooh.
So this is my last one.
Ooh. That looks lunar.
No, it's actually NWA 13909.
Oh yeah, it's one of the new chondrites. Chung had this one, and if I'm remembering off the top of my head, it's LL 3.15.
Yeah.
Yeah. LL 3.15.
Yeah, and
I got a piece of that.
I haven't seen it in the Met Bowl yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. So, yep, that's it. That's all I got.
That is awesome. Well, I like that. I thought it was lunar, so it's just, hey, don't be afraid to speak up when we're in these lives. Anyone can interject and be wrong whenever you want, and no one's gonna laugh too much. I mean, look at my hair. No one's laughing too much at that.
I mean, on that note, I would like to hear everybody's attempt at pronouncing legal.
Marissa, how do you say it?
Oh God, no, don't ask me. No.
I think it's Legay.
I've heard Anne say it a couple of times, and for some reason I can't pronounce French stuff to save my life, but I think it was closer to Legal.
Legal.
But
No,
I could easily be wrong.
We'll go to another rare collector, Mike Kelly, and see if he knows how to say it and what he has for us today.
I got nothing on the pronunciation. Nothing. I got a piece,
Smart.
but I'm not gonna be able to say it. So I got a box from somebody near and dear to our heart. This guy, Dover Spin, came in yesterday. So this was my first flown artifact. I've managed to keep it to meteorites so far. But I finally caved. So that came in there, but this is what I was really happy about.
And Mike's the weird guy. He wanted the prototype. He didn't want the finished one and in color all done up. He wanted the rough folded one.
Yeah, and it said it right there. Prototype number 1 of 2. But yeah, this was something that Topher had on his live sale that I wanted to pick up. I had a little piece of a self-pairing to NWA 11 Achondrite-ungrouped. But when I saw him hold this one up and it has crust on it, I had to go for it.
Cool.
So that's a little over 1/4 gram of NWA 2400, one of the 130 Achondrite-ungroups now. So they're stacking up.
Wow.
Yeah.
So.
And that's actually paired to NWA 11.
11, yes.
Yeah.
011, yeah.
Yeah, and also in that box, since we were talking about Yang, that was that
fake
Pallasite. So yeah, it became coated. So this came in the other day, so I took it out, and Topher's instructions were: you get it, you clean it up. So that's lapped up.
Oh wow!
And it is, it's cool looking stuff. And I'm thinking it's thick enough that this will probably be the first victim going on my Isomet 1000.
Nice.
And then I'll probably try to do a thin section out of one of the butterfly pieces of it.
Cool.
So more to come on this one.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised that the people hawking that stuff on the web are claiming that it is the new one from Kenya. With the name slipped my mind. Sergio, thank you. But the olivines and Sergio are rounded off, and those in that grandma's spice cake is not
fruit cake.
Yeah, it's definitely fruit cake.
There you go.
It's very angular.
Yeah.
And what's really evident is when you shone the light through it, those colors are not normal peridot colors.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we're talking about our Pallasites, they have they have that amber, like that one has a little bit of an amber yellow, which is nice, but we hope to have a little tiny hint of like apple green, not blue.
Yeah.
Not aquamarine. Yeah. So thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for showing that.
Michael, what's your take, since you've lapped that one and looked at it, what's your take on what the matrix material is?
I don't know. I'm gonna hit it with ferric chloride. Obviously it won't etch like a meteorite, and you're not gonna get those big grains. I'd like to etch it and throw it under the digital microscope just to see what does happen to it.
Cool.
Because the matrix is not necessarily, I don't know if you can see it. It's got these like spots to it, where it's not homogeneous. So yeah, I'd be interested to know, and I'd be interested to even, see if I can get it run somewhere to find out what the composition of the metal is,
Does it really look like metal to you? It looks like epoxy or JB Weld in the photos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't, it definitely, I mean, like I said, it was coated, and I don't know if it's coated when they sell it, but yeah, it's hard to tell what they were using. I don't know if it's like a sintered powder,
Is it
and then they
magnetic?
compact it, so there is some sort of adhesive in there along with the metal,
Mm-hmm.
It's
Below the pallasite, olivine crystals show signs of shock lines through the crystals.
Yes.
I think they're just fractured. I think they just, had
Fractured.
broke up chunks of terrestrial, peridot that they just took and threw in there.
Yeah.
Is it attracted to a magnet?
Yeah, it should be. Let me go grab one real quick.
And this is why we really appreciate Yang making those available to us. He sent me a good supply of them, so I was able to share them with people who are interested in, digging into them, finding out what they are, and using them as education tools as well.
Let's see. Here's the magnet. So let's flip you around.
Whoa!
Yeah.
So it pops.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
there's-
got a high metal
That
content in
ain't
there. Like I said,
JB Weld.
No,
yeah,
There's
it's
metal in there.
Yeah, they could have used like shavings from some kind of metal process that, you just add the scrap fragments, mix it in with an epoxy, and there you go.
I almost wonder if it isn't one of the precursors to powder metallurgy or something like that.
Or very likely what could be going on is, that in China they're slicing mad Seracho, and there's got to be a lot of shavings.
Yeah.
And they're probably,
Yeah.
if they could gather all those, melt it all down, they're going to have chemically the right, analysis. But when you go to etch on the other side where it has that big flat part of metal, there's not going to be a Widmanstätten pattern. So that's my only guess is what the matrix could be is melted down shavings of Seracho.
Yeah, I haven't had a piece in hand, but it really does look like it is some sort of powdered metal with an adhesive like an epoxy, just from looking at the photos.
Yeah,
I agree. I think it's something with a bonding agent in there too, probably.
I wonder if they put it into like a canister to make the, the whole thing, and like put it in and then maybe put it under pressure too.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have it under vacuum to suck out any bubbles, because I've never seen a bubble in the photos of it.
And just the shape of it, is it like almost an exact square?
It is, but they're definitely selling ones that are not online. So
Yeah.
they're either getting creative with they're cutting and grinding, to make bigger, cubes into random, more meteoritic shapes. But yeah, this thing definitely came out, and it's came out of a 1-inch square piece of steel or something like that as the encasement.
Loaf of fruitcake.
Yep. Exactly.
Thank
So
you,
I
Michael.
also,
How many inches of meteorite do you want?
Yeah, exactly. How many inches? So I thought this was cool, not because it's anything special classification wise, but it was a piece from Iran, which I didn't have in my collection. So there's a new locality. I picked up a little thin section, and that was from Timur, who was the finder. So found it, made the section. So straight from him, straight to me. Doesn't get shorter than that for provenance.
Nice.
That is sweet. Yeah.
And now for the fun thing, micro man. So you don't see many things that go into these size cases going in my collection. So this was the fun recent one.
Ooh.
Nice.
Any guesses?
Hold on.
Impact Melt-breccia?
No, it's just,
No, is that Dar Alcohol?
nope.
Wagon mound.
No, this is one of my favorites. I had a highly oriented one that I showed previously on here. This is Gal.
Oh, Gal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, nice big,
But that's
nice
really
big gal.
dark inside for a Gal.
Yeah, and it's got a really good sized metal bleb in there.
Yeah.
One on the front side, and also a decent sized one on the back side. If I can get the camera to focus.
It really looks like an impact melt.
It's not wanting to focus.
There it goes.
There it goes. There it goes.
Ooh, nice.
So yeah, it's got a nice big piece of metal in there. But yeah, Pat, you're right. I mean, it does. It has a lot of brecciated looking chunks, you know, sitting inside the dark matrix.
Yeah, big dark lanes.
Yeah, so
That kind of looks like
that's a Wayne Walton piece with a Wayne Walton number on it.
Cool. That is awesome. Great provenance.
Yeah. I mean, Wayne Walton was involved with bringing a lot of those to market while he was a missionary out in the area. So that was really cool. And he was one of the original folks who helped do all the assessment on the original lunar return specimens. So he was a pretty cool character. So
that's fantastic.
But yeah, that's everything I had for today.
Awesome. Well,
thank you, Michael. That was very informative.
Yeah, you always have interesting and cool things to show off, whether they're small or large. We don't care, man. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Mike.
I see no other hands up, and we're 45 minutes in, and I said at 40 minutes we would do something. So I am now we're going to switch gears, and we're going to have a report from the lab. We are in good company today. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Daniel Sheikh with us. Meteorite classifier to the stars. My work actually made me change that. I had my email signature that I was IT specialist to the stars, and I had it for 4 or 5 years. It made me change it to, cloud consultant or something like that. Anyway, I had to change my slide for Daniel because a lot of things are shaking up in his world. He completed his thesis and is now going to move and go to Portland. So he's an incoming PhD student in their geochemistry. In their geochemistry program.
Congrats.
So, yeah, very nice. Congrats, buddy. So we are going to take a 13-minute look at a very well put together video of the meteorite classification process. And this is actually one of our buddies online with us, Raymond Borges' submission. So Daniel, report from the lab, please.
Welcome back to From the Lab episode 2. I'm Daniel Sheikh. I'm an incoming PhD student at Portland State University.
Sorry guys, we'll get this volume all the way up.
I'm also an avid meteorite classifier. I've been doing it for a few years now, and I plan to continue doing this. And what better time than receiving more samples during the summer? In fact, this is the first summer of which I will be doing meteorite classification full-time. This will be my full-time income source for the next 3 to 4 months, and I definitely rely on more collectors to send me samples. So please send me samples. All right, so for this week's episode of the Topher Spin Meteorite Group, I thought, why not cover the first classification that Raymond Borges wanted to send to me? And this is a very interesting chondrite, and I think it's a good learning point for anyone who really wants to get to understand meteorite classification in general. So I kind of went last week from a very difficult chondrite group, the enstatite chondrites, because this was an enstatite melt. If you want to know more, go watch last week. But this week, we're going to cover a more simple classification. This is an L5. And let's get started. So there's actually a video attached to this video itself, which is a little interesting, but basically look for these criteria. This sample has chondrules, metal grains, and clasts. And that is what you'll see in this video here. Looking at this sample in hand specimen, we can see a couple interesting things about it. This specimen has what's called a chondritic texture, which basically implies that you can see a bunch of chondrules surrounded by matrix. You also have iron nickel metal, and I believe there's sulfides in here like troilite that are dispersed throughout the sample. You can see there is preferential weathering of the iron nickel metal over any of the other phases. That is normal when you have terrestrial weathering going on. You have what appears to be some clasts in this sample, so potentially clasts or igneous clasts or just clasts of other chondritic material from other classes maybe. And we can also see that some of these chondrules have appeared to have been or have some interaction with the matrix, meaning that this sample probably was heated on its parent asteroid. So that, of course, is all important to look for when you're doing geochemical analyses. Now, I also have a thin section right here of the same sample, and I'll be showing a few pictures of the thin section in a bit, but as you can see here, you can also see chondrule outlines, and you can also see the matrix, and you can see where these metal grain areas are. So that's just some of the physical characteristics I noted when I looked at the sample initially. Now let's get to the really cool part. Let's look at the petrography. So this is looking at XPL images of the sample, so cross-polarized light images of the thin section piece that I just showed. And you can see, if we look through all the images, this is what we call a typical chondritic texture, which basically means that you have chondrules. So we can see, it's a little hard to tell, but this is a barred-olivine chondrule. This is a radiopyroxene chondrule. We can see this is also a chondrule outline. This is another chondrule outline. This is a porphyritic olivine, maybe porphyritic olivine pyroxene texture, and then a couple other chondrules. And you can see they're all present or set in this fine-grained matrix. And you have some opaque phases, that's iron nickel metal, like canosites. You have troilite in there. You also have some chromite. And something else of interest to note is that you have this secondary recrystallized, if we can find it here, somewhere here, this secondary recrystallized albitic plagioclase phase that's present. It's about 15 microns in size on average. And the chondrules in general are about 700-ish microns in size, but there's a large range in their sizes. Some are 200, some are 1,000 microns, or about 1 millimeter. So it really varies. And something else of interest to note is that when you talk about chondrites, right? So chondrites come from asteroids, or what we basically call chondrites as primitive meteorites derived from asteroids that haven't experienced extensive melting, aka differentiation. But even on these parent bodies, chondrites have been altered via secondary processes like thermal metamorphism, which is just heating on the parent asteroid due to either the internal heating from the decay of radionuclides that are extinct, like aluminum-26 and iron-50, or impacting onto the parent asteroid, causing shock-induced heating, followed by thermal annealing and heating of the sample, which is also metamorphism. And what you end up getting is these equilibrated like textures, which means that the sample's been heated, you have diffusion of some elements within the minerals themselves, and you also get what's called chondrule matrix integration, which means that the chondrules themselves, their textures become blurred, and so you tend to see a coarsening of the matrix, a coarsening of the metal and sulfides, and a more blurring of the chondrules, so everything tends to be more of what is rather just one singular phase, if it looks in texture, as opposed to seeing a definitive chondrule matrix split. And that's sort of what's going on here. You can see that, you can roughly see this chondrule outline, and probably the same with this, but you can see the matrix itself is coarsening, and it's really hard to tell what's chondrule and what's matrix here. Now you can see it a little better with the non-porphyritic chondrules. So the barred olivine and the radiopyroxene chondrules, you can see that better. That is normally a common occurrence that's been found, that for some reason the porphyritic chondrules are much harder to distinguish. And so you tend to see the barred olivine and the radiopyroxene chondrules much better as you go to the higher petrologic types 5 and 6. So that's the petrography. So we've established at this point looks to be an equilibrated chondrite, but we don't know what group it is. And it looks to be an ordinary chondrite for the most part because we don't see calcium aluminum-rich inclusions. We can see other phases present besides enstatite. And we can see metal sulfides, chondral matrix, the chondral sizes are relatively consistent with that of ordinary chondrites. So what kind of ordinary chondrite do we have? Well, before we get to that, and we look at the chemistry, let's look at magnetic susceptibility. So I'm very fortunate enough to own a magnetic susceptibility meter, which is very nice because you can get magnetic susceptibility values from samples, or at least an estimate of what it should be, and then see whether or not it matches up with everything else. So I just did a quick scan of the sample. What you do is you just take your, I can just show it right here, if that makes it easier. But so what I did was, so I took the magnetic susceptibility meter, I call this the pumpkin, because it's orange, and I hold it up against the sample, and then you click it, and then you wait for it. You have to do an air measurement, which means you measure an air background without the sample, and then you measure the sample with it, and then you get your reading, and then you normalize it according to what the mass of the sample is. So in this case, about 20 grams. So not only do I get magnetic susceptibility, which is reported as a log X, but I also get electrical conductivity. So that's something useful that this instrument can do that you don't find in stuff like the SM30, which is also more expensive. And this plot's right about here, so it fits within the L group in terms of magnetic susceptibility. But of course, that isn't the most reliable thing to use. The most reliable way to tell what kind of meteorite group you have is through geochemistry. And this is looking at the individual chemistry of the minerals, olivine and pyroxene, within the sample. So this sample is equilibrated. What that means is that the values of the olivine and pyroxene grains, or low calcium pyroxene in this case, are very similar. So if you look at all the olivine grains, they have roughly the same iron over iron plus magnesium ratios. We call this phthalate number. And the low calcium pyroxene grains have a similar ferrosilite and wollastonite contents, which is just for ferrosilite, the iron over iron plus iron, calcium, magnesium. And then for wollastonite, it's just calcium over the other three. What this means is that as the sample is being heated on its parent asteroid, you have interdiffusion of iron and magnesium across all the different olivine and low calcium pyroxene grains, and you tend to get an equilibrated value. This is generally how thermodynamics works when you involve high temperature processes via secondary heating. And so through tons of research, it's been found that you can split up, the HLs and LLs are equilibrated by their phthalate and ferrosilite values on this chart. Now, of course, there is more of a continuity between Ls and LLs. There's a slight intermediate area, and then even with H's and L's, there's some samples that fall in between. But for the most part, you get a pretty good sense as to what group it falls in. And this is generally consistent with oxygen isotopes and magnetic susceptibility and chondral size and other factors. But for this sample has a phthalate value of about 22, 23, and a ferrosilite value of about 20. So this plot's right about here. And this plot's pretty much within the L group. So it matches up pretty nicely with the magnetic susceptibility of earlier.
Good. That way.
So my final conclusions on this sample is that this is an ordinary chondrite in L5. And it's an L5 due to its petrography, its magnetic susceptibility, the equilibrated values of olivine and low calcium pyroxene grains, and the average size of the secondary recrystallized plagioclase grains. I didn't mention this earlier, but the reason why plagioclase is important is because it's been noted that when you have thermal metamorphism going on, glass within the chondrules devitrifies, which means that it crystallizes. And in this phase, you actually form these microlites, or these small grains of plagioclase, which is generally albidic or sodium-rich in composition. And then these grains get larger and larger as you go to higher temperature or higher grade metamorphism. So type 6s in general have been heated to higher temperatures than type 5s, which have been heated to higher temperatures than type 4s. And so plagioclase, there's a range in its grain size that's been noted that marks type 6s from type 5s from type 4s. So if you want to know more about all this that I'm mentioning, I highly advise you to read this very interesting paper. It is a little dated, but it is nice. And this is Van Schmussen Wood, 1967, Chemical Petrologic Classification for Chondritic Meteorites in GCA. So if you'd like your sample to be featured, or if you'd like to send me more samples to classify, please do. Like I mentioned earlier, this is my only source of income for the next few months. And since I'll be moving to Portland soon to pursue my PhD at Portland State University, any amount of support would help. So my rates have increased from earlier since this is my only income, and of course that I'm receiving much more interest. So the rates are $3.50 per sample. There's no longer an hourly fee associated with analysis time or a specific amount based on thin section return time. This is just the standard set fee for any sample. So if you have a chondrite or a lunar, it's going to be the same price. If additional factors need to be made, such as oxygen isotopes or trace element work, that is going to be in addition to this price. This price is just covering the typical microprobe / SEM work, plus the petrography, and covering the cost of making a thin section. So if you'd like to contact me, you can contact me through Facebook, or you can contact me at my email right here. Thanks again, and hope that everyone has a good time on the weekly Meteorite Hangout by Topher Spin. Thanks.
Awesome.
Wow, that was incredible, Daniel. Thank you. I'm going to go back
Fantastic
and rewatch
information.
that a few times.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't thank you enough for your partnership and for your information and the time that you take to make these videos, and specifically for one of our Knowledge Bolide crew members. So I think that's really awesome. I hinted at this earlier, but I kind of want to help out a little bit as well. Daniel has started a GoFundMe page, and there's a lot of GoFundMe out there for really stupid, silly stuff. But here's a guy who's trying to educate himself and educate others, and doing what he loves and what we love. So like I mentioned earlier, those pieces of iron that Ron Metchis is electrolysis, reverse electrolysis, salvaging, I'm sorry, stabilizing, not salvaging, stabilizing, and then polishing and re-etching them. I'm giving one away to the first person who's able to donate $500 to the GoFundMe, or directly to Daniel without going through GoFundMe. He'll let me know when someone qualifies, and I will make arrangements to get you your free slice. So Daniel, thank you very much. I cannot thank you enough for your information and time.
Well, let me just say thank you, Topher, and thank you to everyone for watching my video. You know, if it wasn't for me receiving all these samples, like I said earlier, I wouldn't be able to have been in the opportunity to classify all this. So thank you so much again for all of the support. And if anyone has any questions on my previous lecture, I'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah, actually, I'll jump in before Pat does. I have a question because I use these terms incorrectly, probably. Can you describe what the difference is between a clast and a chondro? Because when I look at a lunar, it's an achondrite, so I'm not going to say, oh, look at these chondrules. I'm going to call them all clasts. But you just had a chondrite, and you were saying, look at all these clasts. So I'm confused.
That's a great way to start, Topher. So the term chondrule can be loosely defined as being a solidified, or a once molten solidified silicate melt droplet that formed from pre-existing melt that was essentially heated in some heating event in the early solar system, or in the solar nebula. Now, what that heating event was, there's much argument and speculation about it. But basically, chondrules themselves have a very strict definition to them. And also chondrules have a specific age range. So if you were to date chondrules, they would have a specific age associated with them. You'd see a specific texture, a specific mineralogy, and such. But the term classed you can use more loosely, because classed just means I like to think of it as a portion of rock, whether it's a pure mineral or whether it's a mix of many different minerals that has been incorporated into another existing rock. So think of like a sedimentary rock where you have pre-existing igneous rocks that you break them down via weathering processes, and then you mix that up with a whole bunch of sand or clay or whatever holds the matrix. Those bits of material, the large pieces, we call them clasts. So in meteorites, when we talk about chondrites are just breccias. Like all meteorites are just breccias of many different phases. Some of them, of course, are more of pure phases. Some of them incorporate a whole bunch of other stuff like howardites. But I consider a clast to be, for example, let's say if you have a piece of a carbonaceous chondrite in an HED, that's a clast. If you have, in lunars, if you have a piece of a anorthitic or anorthositic material that's included in the lunar meteorite, I consider that to be a clast. If you have, a meteorite that has 3 or 4 different lithologies in there, you can consider each one to be a clast. It depends on your definition. So some people think differently, but that's generally the difference.
Okay, well, that's awesome. I appreciate you clarifying that, because I've really tried hard to limit my use of clasts only to achondrites, but now I can open that up a little bit. Like earlier, we were looking at Pat Brown's CB3 possible, and it had a clast in it.
Definitely, yeah. Pat, I was gonna say, if you want to know more about that clast, I definitely agree with what you were saying about wanting to get a thin section made. That'd be a good way to differentiate if you have a fine-grained basaltic clast versus some sort of chondritic clast if it's all matrix.
Right. Okay. Yes, I did plan on making a thin section from one of the slices that show that that big clast. Yeah. So the chondrules are the very round things, as opposed to CAIs and clasts.
So, does anyone else have a question for our PhD student? Time is money, and we gotta use them wisely.
I gotta get one of those magnetic susceptibility meters. I didn't realize that one also gives conductivity.
Yeah, it gives both. The conductivity isn't as precise as the magnetic susceptibility. I don't know the ins and outs very well, but I think you messaged me a year ago for the contact information of the person who makes these, and I think I sent that to you. If you need it again, I can always send it.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
It looks like, I haven't checked the website yet, but there was an email from the Meteoritical Society that looks like they have definitively called it as a in-person meeting, and so I'm certainly hoping that that the person that sells those can bring one with him or her. So I'll be working on that.
Definitely, they have some policies with exporting these types of instruments out of France. So if there's a colleague that's going to METSOC, they can always bring that if you're going to attend there, I guess, if that's how. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. Yeah.
Everyone, I shared a picture of the rock that this thin slice came from to the chat. If I don't know, Topher, if you wanted to pull it up and share your screen and show it, it's got a little scale cube for reference.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Let me hit pause for 1 second. Wow, that thing's got some regmaglyphs on it, man.
It's gorgeous. Yeah. Beautiful regmaglyphs. And look at that sexy, thick crust on there, too.
Gotta love L chondrites.
What's the total weight on that one, man?
I think it was 512 grams before taking the sample of 20-gram donation and the thin slice. I had 2 really thin slices taken off of it. I was gonna keep one and send the other one to get thin sliced. And then they told me that I had sliced it too thin and they were charging me extra to make the petrographic slide of the slice that I sent them more, because apparently you don't want it to be too thin when you send it to the company to make the petrographic thin slice. You don't want it too thin, otherwise they can charge you more.
Yeah, I think the guideline is they want it to be 2 millimeters thick.
Yeah, something like that. I think they said 2 or 3 millimeters at a minimum.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I had told Mark, what's his name? I forget. The person I sent this to get sliced to make it as thin as possible, so I lost the least amount possible.
Yeah, and it's also a non-standard size. It's larger than a standard thin section.
Yeah, I also didn't take that into consideration. This is the first one I've had classified ever. Well, he also did a lunar for me, but it was out of order. I actually did. I sent this one in first and then the lunar, but it ended up getting classified backwards. So he already did another meteorite for me, submitted it, which is a 104-gram lunar.
Cool.
Oh.
Huh. Well, that is pretty awesome. It's nice to see the large sample, and it's nice to have the classifier with us, giving us all the information as it goes through. So real science being done here, folks. So thanks again. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So Daniel, when you get to Portland, they'll have a microprobe there, right?
So I'll be working with Cascadia Meteorite Laboratory. So
right.
They have an in-house field emission SEM. The microprobe itself is primarily run by University of Oregon. They have remote access and they have a computer set up. So if I need to do specific probe work, then I would mail the sample and then access it from the computer. But from the setup that I've seen that Cascadia has, they get very good resolution on chromium and type 3 chondrites and on iron manganese ratios using their field emission SEM. So I want to see how that works and if it's interesting.
Cool. Okay.
Yep. Any show and tell hands up? Oh, Arthur?
Yeah. Over the weekend, I had a friend give me a piece of Nantan, and the card that's with it, this is a slice, for whatever reason, a thick slice that somebody glued to a slide, and the weight of the original piece was 515.7 grams. And this certainly isn't 515.7 grams. But
that is a first for me. I've never seen a glass slide attached to an iron meteorite before.
and look how thick it is, you know? I mean, were they afraid they were going to lose it or something?
Are you going to be separating that?
Yes. For my collection, I will be separating it.
Good. Keep us updated on that.
I will. I will.
Did you have something else, or was that it?
That's it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I have something that I want to show off, and the idea behind these hangouts is not sales oriented, but this is available for sale. So this is my personal collection, or was my personal collection piece of Brenham from Kansas. There's my personal collection number on it. Got 30 grams, but if you haven't seen Brenham, it's kind of known for its, well, it's from Kansas, I think I said that, but it's known for its really round olivines. And a few weeks back, during Meteorite 101 class, I showed a slide of what is hypothesized to cause the round olivines. So that is a beautiful American pallasite, not a Russian, but it is being replaced in my collection with this one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mind.
So you can definitely see the round olivines.
And a very pretty canary yellow in addition to the honey sort of colors there too.
It does have a nice Vidman pattern. Like here's a nice area.
Right. Yep.
But yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful piece.
Nice.
So can you backlight that?
You know what? I was hoping someone would ask, because that's a big piece. That's a thick piece, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
There's no way you can see through that, is there? Well, hold on a second there.
Okay.
Wait till you see this. There's too much shine. Hold on, let me find it first. I'll have to post pictures online, but yes, it does have 4 olivines that are translucent, and they're different colors.
So where's this from, Topher? You said it's American?
Yeah, it's from Kansas.
Oh, is it a Brenham?
Yep, Brenham.
Yeah.
From first discovered in 1882. So this is the etched side, and this is the non-etched side.
Wow, that's very nice for, Brenham usually doesn't look that nice. That's really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm super happy. You can definitely see during the cutting and stabilizing process, some olivines were lost. They're round, so you can see, the negative impression of what was an olivine sitting in these dimples. But that's kind of the price you pay, cutting loss and salvaging, and like reverse osmosis, that all takes weight away, but gives you a nice display piece. So I'm super happy and super proud of this one. Nice size American pallasite.
Wow. Yeah, really nice. Congrats.
Thank you very much. I'll try to get my big torch and get some backlighting on that one. I actually post some pictures of it. Let's see, Kevin.
How's it going, everybody?
Good.
Good. Very well.
I'm using my cell phone here, so I'm trying to make sure the quality's okay. But here's a piece of Tatahouine. I know Topher brought that out at the very beginning. Not as impressive as his, of course. Not sure if the quality's that great.
What's the weight on that? At least 4 or 5 grams.
Yep, 4.32.
Wow. And that actually shows the like on the other side of it, Kevin. It shows really good structure to the crystal. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Picked this up a little while ago from Fabian Kuhn. It's one of my favorite meteorites, the Star Wars meteorite as well.
Yeah, it's a cool meteorite just to have and say.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing too fancy, but definitely
very nice sample. Wow. What else is poking around in the background there?
I brought a couple things out. I know I've been a little MIA recently. Hockey season, Canadian. But this from Mark Lyon, the NWA 6704 ungrouped Achondrite, 4.9 grams slice. This is not something I want to take out of its case. It's very coarse-grained, very fragile. It's already broken off on me, if you can see, unfortunately. But this is one of my favorite pieces. Beautiful, ungrouped Achondrite. NWA 6704.
It's really super crystally.
Yes, I love this.
Man. And what's great about that piece is I know for a fact that the provenance goes right back to Greg Houpe, the main mass holder. That's beautiful. Yeah, I definitely don't recommend taking it out and playing with it because they'll just crumble.
Yep. I made that mistake when I first bought it. And he's staying right where it is. This one's a little bit newer to me. I just got it from Matthew's stream.
Ooh,
nice.
Oh my God.
That's a gorgeous, gorgeous slice.
This is the new Lunar Melt-breccia 105 NWA 13788.
Wow. I'm totally in love with that. Man. Yeah, Matt Stream's got
called it the
Matt
blue inclusion. I don't know if I can focus on that.
Yeah, I call Matt Stream
go ahead.
Lunar King because every time I turn around, he has a new lunar and it's a one of whatever.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man.
I saw this one on his eBay and I had to have that one. He called it the blue inclusion right there. I'm not sure if I can focus in on it, but the little larger inclusion there stands out to the rest.
That is fantastic. And I'm glad you mentioned eBay too, because Matt is definitely available on eBay. I really wish I remembered his eBay seller name right now. But while I have eBay on the brain, I wanted to show you something that it's just beyond ridiculous. So this I don't even know where to start with this guy and gal. It's a married couple. He goes by Jeffrey Carr and John Carr. He also uses the alias of Stark Adams, which, believe it or not, I found out is the name of a friend who died in high school. So he's using a dead kid's alias, one of his friend's alias, to contact us. But he also has a Skyfall Under the Scope YouTube channel. And they are just, well, he is just scum. He's the faker of the week, you know?
Yeah, Mendy's business is Skyfall Meteorites. That's a little too close.
Yeah. He dances on the line. Well, basically, I'm told that I understand that Brandy runs the eBay, and he has been kicked off of eBay and YouTube by her. She doesn't allow him to use. He can't be trusted to use her logins, so she retracted his proof. So he started his own YouTube, and then he's been bugging us. He's just a gnat that won't go away. But there they are. They're Brandy and John or Jeffrey Carr, and they live in Flint, Michigan. So let me show you some of the horse shite they have up on sale right now on eBay. Hurry, you can go buy it right now. It is, I don't even know what that is. Do we still have Daniel on with us?
Is that a piece of road asphalt?
Yep, I'm right here. What's
Daniel, do you have, oh my God, we have Daniel. Please, do you have any input as to what these things may be? Or what they are or not?
So the one on the right, I have no idea what that is because I can't see the inside. The one on the left, so where do I start?
The thing is, I don't see, I bust on eBay scammers. I'm known internationally as being a dick to a lot of people on purpose. But here's why. Daniel, please explain what we're looking at.
So, okay, so from what I'm seeing on the left, well, in a simple matter, you have what looks to be a porphyritic texture of some sort. You have appears to be grains of different colors in a fine-grained dark matrix. Now, whether this is some sort of rock or some sort of man-made byproduct, that would have to require a little bit of testing. But just by looking at it, it doesn't look to be similar to any of the lunar meteorites that I've come across, or I guess achondrites in general. This looks to be something unique.
I love when scientists have to choose their words very carefully, but that's awesome. I appreciate your feedback on those.
And so unique is not good in this context.
Exactly.
Probably not good. Yeah.
Anytime I submit something for classification, if it ever comes back with the word unique in it, I basically do a streak around the neighborhood. So here's unfortunately something that, you know, we can't stop everything. We can't stop everything, but here's an example of them selling the exact meteorite that I'm showing you a real example of. I know this is the real one. I took a picture of it myself. So the one on the right is real. The one on the left is not real. And unfortunately, it's sold. 3.5 grams for 175 bucks, 43 bids. I mean, people are getting tricked out there, and they're getting scammed, and they're getting taken advantage of. And it pisses me off. It saddens me. Someone's going to have this on their shelf, and they're going to be showing it around, and they're going to be so proud of it until one day they find out that they were lied to, and they've been showing off a piece of camel dung to all their friends like a moron.
And these people are scurrilous too. That could just be shill bidding to build up a a record of transactions and a bunch of happy customers.
No, I'm going to go ahead and say we're not going to give this person the benefit of any doubt.
Yeah, that's probably.
And well, let me show you why. You know, you can go ahead and say, yeah, these look similar enough, but no, to actually name it as it, someone paid a scientist like Daniel, his career depends on classifying meteorites. This and my career as a meteorite dealer and educator depends on disseminating accurate information and paying for lab tests so I know what I'm selling. This eBay superstar is stealing from dealers like me and PhD students and scientists who have dedicated their education and careers to this, and they just steal our numbers, throw it on their stuff, and steal from people. Yeah. It annoys the crap out of me. And then you go, Topher, you're being too hard on them. Chill out. Don't be such a dick. It's an honest mistake. Right?
No.
His classification doesn't.
Here is the same person busted on Facebook faking COAs.
Not good.
So you buy this meteorite that they have listed as NWA 10720, but it's supposed to be this number. You know, this Saeed is the main mass holder of this meteorite. And Saeed's business card, and that's not his, this is his. This is what his looks like. So they're actively hand scratching. I mean, if this isn't the most blatantly offensive crap you've ever seen. Wait till the next slide, because he's about to outdo himself. This idiot goes online, creates a YouTube video bashing the IMCA. I got 45 seconds into it, and I had to rewind it 16 times. In the first 45 seconds, there are 15 F-bombs. You see them right there. And also including a violent threat. So this guy is basically saying that he's exposing the IMCA, scamming bid, blah, blah, blah. And then he uses screenshots that are for the wrong person that's not even an IMCA member. You're a genius. Here's his lunar find. So he's the only guy that has found lunar in America.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, there's another one. I actually just posted in the chat a couple of links that came off the Meteorite email list. Meteorite list.
Daniel, on a scale of 1 to 100, your percentage of chance that this is a lunar find. I don't know if Daniel's still with us or not. All right, we'll go to the next slide.
Sorry, I had my thing muted. Looking at it, not very good.
Not very good. Okay, thank you very much. So it's so now he's moving on to diagenites. So he put a video up and he says this is a video. He found some nice diagenites, a couple chondrites, even some achondrites just today in Michigan. Yeah, he did it. He found them. Here's my reply. Congratulations. You're the biggest moron I've ever met. Well, 30-second plug. You can pause your screen now. There's my URL. I try to keep at least 500 pieces of meteorites, live inventory up online. If it's in red, I have pictures I can send you right away. If it's not in red, I'll take pictures and send it to you, and then it'll be red for the next person. When an item is sold, it's removed. Please don't ask by number. The numbers are changing constantly. Please ask by type of meteorite, name of meteorite, and weight, something like that. MLX 16 grams. But I go out of my way to give you as much information as I possibly can, including provenance. If you want to be one of the cool cats and wear an official Knowledge Bolide shirt, you can pause the screen now and get your very own. And we have one more person, or we're going to go to Raymond. Hopefully he'll make it extremely short because it's over, folks. We're done. But I do have a hand up, so I never want to leave. Never want to. Well, then Pat raised his hand. Thanks a lot. Awesome. We're checking in with Raymond. Raymond, what you got, buddy?
So this one is from the Barstowich collection.
Yeah.
This is a 1 point, sorry that the label is going in and out of focus, but it's a 1.15 gram end cut from Liegel. It looks like it at one point had possibly a white lettering number there. It's very small. Let me see if I can get it to go back and focus.
We need to compare it to Marissa's.
There you go. Yeah, just leave it there for 1 second. And it's, I thought it was going to focus. But how are you pronouncing that?
I pronounce it Liegel. I have no idea.
Yeah, we were commenting earlier. You talk to 13 people and get 12 different opinions.
I know it's the eagle is the translation from French.
Oh, okay. But that's a big piece of it, man.
Yeah.
What's the fall date on that one again?
1.15.
No, the date.
Oh, the fall date, 1803. This is the one from this is what's regarded as the meteorite that kind of established that meteorites fell from the sky, specifically from space. and that it became widely accepted by the most scientists at the time, starting with the Siena fall that Chalidny, whatever, however you pronounce Ernst Chalidny, claimed that they fell from space, and it was still debated whether they were from volcanoes at the time. So this is the early period of meteoritics from the end of the 18th century, beginning of the 19th century. Siena, Liego, all those were the early meteorites that helped establish that meteorites did fall from the sky. And the other one I have is Stannern. I'm not sure if this one's even smaller. Oh, there we go.
Ooh.
0.19, almost 0.2 grams. This one
that's a Eucrite, isn't it?
It's a Eucrite. There we go.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So Stannern is a Eucrite from 1808. This is an XRA Langheinrich meteorite collection. He's a famous collector from New York. He owns at one point he owned the car. What do you call that car? The one that was hit by a meteorite in 19.
Peak scale.
Yeah, the peak scale. Was it a Malibu or I forget?
It was a
Chevy or something.
It was a Chevy.
So he was the owner of that car at one point. And
wow,
this is his collection.
That's amazing.
That's what I got for you, just to make it super short.
That is super cool. Well, I definitely appreciate that, man. Wow. Oh, someone just put it in the chat. Matthew's stream on eBay is Matt 992011. So I'll put that in the comments below as well. Pat?
Yeah, I just got a couple of book things I wanted to end on a high note here. So Legile, or however it is pronounced, there is its historic place is nicely described in this book called Cosmic Debris by Burke. Legile was one of the first meteorite falls that was observed by a number of military officers, politicians, etc., people that they deemed to be trustworthy, and so that kind of was the start of modern scientific meteoritics. The last little one that I had is Brenham is also a very storied meteorite and written up extensively, especially in Neininger's books. There's a number of references in Our Stone-Pelted Planet, which is Neininger's first book, and in fact the first scientific book on meteorites for the educated layperson, 1933, same year as the Meteoritical Society was founded. And then in Out of the Sky, also by Neininger, there's a very nice write-up about meteorites in Kiowa County. And then probably the nicest write-up that there is in Find a Falling Star by Neininger. And I love this one line. I'll read it quick. When Frank Kimberly brought his bride Mary to Brenham in the raw Kansas prairies to the homestead at the end of the 19th century, the first thing she noticed was not the buffalo grass or the sod house or the rusty looking black rock. And he said, Frank, do you see that rock? Do you know what it is? And he said, of course. He told her it's a rock. And she said, well, no, it isn't an ordinary rock. That's a meteorite. She worked for years and years to get scientists to contact her to verify that in fact it was a meteorite. And not only that, she collected up a big pile of these things. The ones that were small enough, she carried them up there. The ones that weren't too big for her to carry, she talked somebody into helping her get it up on the porch. After they were verified as meteorites, there was enough value in that pile of rocks to pay off the mortgage on their farm and to buy the farm next door. So Brenham has a wonderful backstory to it. And you'll find that in these three books by Neininger.
That is awesome. I'm really glad I didn't cut you off, because I was tempted, you know, you're going to be here next week. Save it. I always like content in the can. No, thank you so much for adding that. Yeah, he's our resident librarian as well as lab technician. So everyone, we have completed 1 year without missing a single day. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you so much for partnering with me. I really appreciate it. It's good times all around. Oh my God, Chris Monk, your chin is naked. Oh, that's worth it right there.
You're welcome.
I finally have the more superior goatee. Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great week. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Topher. It's been a wonderful year.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.